The Meteoric Ronin has access to the weaker gravity sorceries, which he uses rarely because he prefers to beat the enemies to a pulp in melee combat with the Meteoric Ore Blade. Without further delay, let's start with the stats. 50 Vigor will give us a great amount of HP, 30 Endurance because we need a lot of stamina to attack with the katanas. 64 Strength will greatly improve the damage of our weapons. 18 Intelligence is the minimum needed to use the gravity spells, and it also raises the damage of our weapons a little. We need no points into Mind, Dexterity, Fate and Arcane for this build. The main weapon is the Meteoric Ore Blade. It has C scaling in both Strength and Intelligence, but scales better with Strength, which pairs nicely with the heavy Uchigatana we use in the other hand. It has a unique R2, a downwards slash, which deals a lot of poise damage, while its skill, Gravitas, is a great tool for dealing with multiple opponents at once. In the other hand, I use a heavy Uchigatana with the Crack Blade skill, which buffs the weapon for 60 seconds. Both the Slam and the Pull deal damage if we hit an enemy with them. The skill raises the physical damage of the Uchigatana by 15%, stance damage by 20% and stamina damage against blocking enemies by 50%. It's hard to pinpoint the exact AR we reach when fully buffed, but both katanas end up having more than 900 AR. For casting, I use the Demi-Human Queen's Staff, which has 180 sorcery scaling, while the Meteorite Staff is here only to boost the power of the spells by 30%. The headpiece I use is the Okina Mask, which raises Dexterity by 3 points. The rest of the set is completed by the White Reed Armor and the Ronin Gauntlets and Graves. In combination with the Bull Goat's Talisman, we reach 51 poise, which is enough to withstand a light attack without getting staggered. We have a lot of talisman options for this build. I picked what I felt fits best a melee playstyle. Magic Scorpion Charm raises the magic damage we deal by 12% while receiving 10% more physical damage. Millicent Prosthetis raises our dexterity by 5 points and raises our AR by 4, 6, then 11% with successive attacks. The Shard of Alexander raises the power of the Gravitas skill by 15%. And the Bull Goat's Talisman in order to reach 51 poise. You can pick any of the other talismans depending on your needs and preferences. As mentioned in the intro, I rarely used the spells. Rock Sling when I couldn't reach my target in melee combat, and Gravity Well when I was too lazy to approach enemies or when I didn't want to risk doing it. The Spiritash for this build is the Stormhawk Dino. He is very agile and can avoid many attacks, but doesn't deal a lot of damage and doesn't have a lot of health. But he uses a war cry that buffs us for 20% more physical damage, stamina damage and poise damage for 30 seconds. This buff pairs nicely with the Crack Blade skill, which has a similar effect. In the Flask of Wondrous Physique, we are using the Strength Knot tier for 10 bonus points into Strength. The other tier is the Magic tier, which raises our magic damage by 20%. Both tiers will improve our damage for 3 minutes. Other consumables are the Boiled Crab, which reduces the physical damage we receive by 20%. It is a must-have, especially in the late game where enemies deal huge physical damage. Against opponents who don't deal physical damage, like Renala, Gideon and Elden Beast, I used Exalted Flesh instead, for 20% more physical damage for 30 seconds. Gravity Stone Chunk is a timed gravity bomb which explodes shortly after hitting something. I usually use it when I can't approach the enemy in melee combat or before engaging an enemy. It has C scaling in strength and B in intelligence, so the more points you have, the better damage you get. Going to 80 strength will greatly improve the physical damage of both katanas. It will also make the Strength Knot tier useless, so you can replace it with the Stone Barb Cracked tier, which will make your attacks break the enemy poise easier for 30 seconds. Going to 36 intelligence will improve the magic damage of the Meteoric Ore Blade as well as the power of the spells. It will also give you access to the Collapsing Star spell, which I recommend you use for dealing damage. The remaining 16 points can be put into Vigor and Endurance for more health and stamina. Check out the previous builds, the Alabaster Lady and the Void Wizard, and stay tuned for the upcoming Onyx Lord and Void Archer builds. See you in the next one.